To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. Jay here, positivesarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast. Like, subscribe, share, donate. Positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amounts appreciated. If you want to contact me, please go through my website, positivesarcasm.com. In the contact section, that's a great way to do it. You can also email me through Instagram at @positive_sarcasm, or you can just hit me up directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. If you're a fitness competitor and you're looking for some posing music, please feel free to hit me up. I'm more than willing to help. Rates apply, of course, but, yeah. So there you have it. Questions, concerns, comments. You guys know where to find me. Let's see. How many episodes are we in? Like, have we done here? I know I've shortened up the format a little bit, but obviously shortening up the format that I've done, the reason I've done that is because I kind of just wanted to tighten things up a little bit. I wanted to tighten things up, but I didn't want to blow it. There are podcasts that out there that are an hour, that are 2 hours, that are 3 hours. And right now this is not that podcast. Right now it's not there. There might be a day, maybe 6 months from now, who knows, where this thing can stretch back out to 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour. That'd be nice. But right now it's just not there. I have to kind of go with the flow right now and allow for whatever energy I have and whatever availability I have to just be. I would love to create a larger merchandise page, which I have a little bit of. It's just not to the standard I want it to. I would love to write more blogs, but right now it's just the mindset is not there to write this stuff. I know you have to kind of force yourself to do these things, but I am a busy guy. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, that's an excuse. Well, it's an excuse, but it's also I have responsibilities. I have responsibilities as a working man. I have responsibilities to my body as a physical human being. I have responsibilities to my dog Chase, who is with me all day, every day. I have responsibilities to my fiance, where I need to spend time with that person and build a relationship and make sure that their needs are taken care of and just be that person who's attentive. I have responsibilities just overall to New England's beautiful seacoast. I have responsibilities to the people within that seacoast and to take care of it, and to be part of that community. I have responsibilities to my family to some extent, where I have to make sure that I am, in some regards, a upstanding, respectable human being and somebody who, kind of shows up for the holidays when he's able. I have responsibilities to my finances to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes that I did 10 years ago. I have responsibilities just like everybody else. I know which rooms to walk into. I know when I can be cocky and arrogant and blow myself. But I know other times where I'm supposed to just kind of take a step back. This isn't your place. Speak your mind when it's appropriate, blah, blah, blah. Having a sip of tea. Please excuse me. I also just joined a new gym. So joining a new gym, it's more expensive gym than I'm used to. But I have a responsibility to now follow through with going to that gym and taking care of myself. And I'll be there 3 days a week. I usually run Mondays, and then I work out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I generally leave town on Friday, at least for now, depending upon how things work out next year. Obviously, I'll be closer to the gym. My living situation will be different, and there you go, assuming the world does not collapse or blow itself up or whatever. But we just continue each day assuming that things are going to be okay. But the responsibilities I have to this website and this life project of mine, however it pans out, however disheveled it may seem at times or exhausted I may be, it exists. It exists. It has content. It has history. It has character. It says a lot about me, how far I've come. It says a lot about the people who have come in and out, come in contact and gone away from it. It says a lot about the counseling that I went through earlier this year. And just overall, it says a lot about me continuing to add little by little layers each week to this whole program, to this whole thing. It's not much, but it is something. It's a lot more than other people do. It's definitely not as much as some other people do. But it's I was having this conversation about the concept. It's a very crude way of labeling it, but it's called gorilla fucking. And what I'm talking about is essentially, I'm 41 years old. I have the body of a 30-year-old. I have the mindset, or I have the brain capacity of a 30-year-old. I am definitely going through life as if I'm 30 years, or as if I'm 10 years younger. But I do have this sense of urgency in my brain to pick up the pace a little bit. So, waking up at 5 a.m., having coffee done by 5:30, being in the shower by 6, moving on with my day an hour before I need to, making sure that Chase is taken care of, getting him to live the life that he deserves to live. Everything I do, my wardrobe, I continue to tighten that up. My finances continue to tighten that up. I really do think about my finances a lot. Sometimes a little too much, but that little bit of overthinking has gotten me farther than it ever has. And the fact that I'm still able to be down here by New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast says a lot about my perseverance, to find a resolution to this whole thing. And I'm gonna win. I'm gonna fucking win. But I really have to. I can't take my time. I mean, I can be patient to a certain extent because things, leases, interest rates, and availability, it's all dependent on that. But being ready for that moment, that opportunity, do not waste it. So when it comes to, taking life, grabbing life by the balls, I gotta kind of gorilla fuck my way through some things. Like, I really have to push my way through the door of life sometimes. And sometimes I gotta push people in traffic. Sometimes I gotta push people in my professional life and just get shit done. And I gotta shut things off when I'm at the gym and focus on doing that and taking care of my body and pushing it kind of closer to the limits of it that I did when I was about 10 years ago, where I was at my strongest. So these are things that I have to do. These are things that you also personally would think about doing. It's, you can't just wait till tomorrow or wait 10 minutes or wait an hour or just, sometimes you have to go after shit. You just have to go after it and have some type of plan of how you're going to pull it off. It's like when you find free shit on the side of the road or a car you've been looking for a while. You can't hesitate. If that's what you wanted, if that's what you were looking for, you need to get after it. You need to get after it. You need to take care of it now. You cannot wait. It could be health related. It could be financial related. It could be personal stuff. You've got to take accountability for that stuff, and you need to take care of accountability for it now. And if you have a big list of things that you need to get done within 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, you've gotta be more aggressive with your lifestyle. And and guess what? There are going to be many obstacles that are going to get in your way financially, personally, professionally, that may slow down your progress simply because you're not willing to be aggressive enough and motivated enough to get these things accomplished. Hence, gorilla fucking. So if you have to gorilla fuck your way through the next 6 months of your life, then go on it and get after it. Pop an edible before you go to bed, get that sleep, wake up, and make sure your schedule, your budget, and your list of goals is ready to go for the next day. Your clothes are laid out, all the stuff you need for food, everything, your coffee, everything. Make sure that your day is lined up to the point where if you've set your house in order, you are capable of taking on a lot more chaos that is imminent to happen throughout the day. So, I am trying to make sure that I am better set up to have a more spread out studio, a more spread out life. But right now, it's a matter of just sitting in front of this computer with my little setup here and just kind of, in a sense, getting through it. While people are focused on this thing or that thing, I understand that right now is a little chaotic. There is a big election coming up. There is other items such as food prices, so supposedly, or gas prices, or energy prices, or this, that, and the other thing, or just stuff to essentially scare you. And then distractions like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and Snapchat, and video games and news articles and this thing and that thing. And it's like, all right, well, I understand there's that stuff it's out there and exists, but are you going to let it prevent you from accomplishing your goals? Are you going to allow it to slow you down from accomplishing those goals? Because if you slow down, you're screwed. Somebody else is going to take your place. You don't put in a house. You take your time on putting in an offer to a house. For a house, somebody's going to take it. Offer for an apartment, somebody's going to take it. Offer on a car, somebody's going to take it. An offer on a job, somebody else is going to take it. You need to take advantage and living life also. Don't get me wrong. I do live life to a certain degree, but I earn my time. I earn my free time. And even in that free time, I still take a little bit of time here and there throughout the day to check emails, to make sure I'm keeping up with clients, to make sure that my budget is actually secure and I didn't miss something or something wasn't overcharged. And I mean, I had a situation where I was ready to purchase something big, and I had the cash. I was ready to go, but I was denied, and then my bank would not let me use my own money. So I held them accountable for that, and essentially I will be switching out of my bank once I figure out what life is going to be like next year, because at the end of the day, your money is your money, and nobody should tell you how to, if you want to spend it, it's on you to spend it. If you're going to spend it on, if you're going to spend $6,000 on Jelly Bellies, then go ahead and spend $6,000 on Jelly Bellies. It's not the greatest idea, but it is your choice. So take accountability of institutions or people that are essentially standing in the way of you being able to get shit done. Don't be maligned to the fact that every corporation is got you by the balls. I got out of an expensive phone contract. I've gotten other people out of expensive phone contracts, and I switched them over to an NVMO plan. I was able to lower my insurance premium by a little bit just by making a couple adjustments here and there. I was able to figure out a couple reasons why my energy bill might have gone up a few bucks. I just checked on these little things, and it only took me a few minutes, and I was able to incrementally save myself. You know that Caleb Composer guy who's always yelling at people about their finances? That's more prominent than you think. He has something. You think that the people he's finding are few and far between? Not so much. He's on to something. So getting shit done can be accomplished really quickly if you just stay focused and you are aggressive. And you don't have a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time to get shit done. If you have goals that are 6 months out or 2 years out or 5 years out, okay. All right. Set your goals. Set the pace for those goals, and yes, you will accomplish them. And don't stray from those goals. There's always a margin of error of 5 to 10% of that overall goal. But that's about as far as you can go. Otherwise, you're going to start straying and making excuses, and ultimately you won't be able to accomplish it. I understand that people are telling you that it's harder now to get a home or get an apartment or get a car or get this or that other thing than it's ever been. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's harder. Does that mean you give up? Does that mean you stop? Does that mean that you just kind of go like a route to pass the time or settle for something, that's beneath you? I understand that there are ways that you need to save money in order to focus on getting that ultimate goal. But I still believe in the American dream because it's still accomplishable. You can still accomplish it. You're only off by, if you're actually focused on getting it, you can accomplish it within 2 to 5 years. It's absolutely obtainable if you literally just look at the numbers. It's like, this cost X. Okay, this cost Y, so I need X. And I need to do that in this amount of time. And that's it. Take the emotion out of it and just be like, what do I need to do in order to get that? Well, I need to do this. Physical, financial, emotional. You do that, you will accomplish this. It is that simple. But as always, it's going to be hard or difficult or challenging. And there's going to be setbacks. But if you understand that it's hard, the decision is easy. The process is difficult. You are more appreciative, though, of the destination when you put a lot of effort into the journey. And the more you get close to that accomplishment, the more you'll realize, oh, I'm on pace here. Well, then you're like, okay, how much more can I do? How much more can I be doing to accomplish this task? Because you don't just put money into something or put effort into something and then it's that incremental. It actually starts to snowball after a while. That cumulative growth starts to settle in and you start to accomplish your goals faster. So that is the key thing that I have not necessarily factored into my goals is what is that cumulative amount going to be that's going to get me over the hump faster or is going to get me to the over the hump sooner? I don't know. I don't know because I'm not smart enough to calculate that stuff through. But I know if I put that there, I will be a month ahead of time or a year ahead of time. So if you have to be more aggressive to accomplish these things, especially if you're a few years older like I am, yeah, mentally, emotionally, the clock is ticking here. It just is because that's how the human brain is set up. So I'm in the position where I'm like, all right, I want to get this done. What is my sacrifice? Is it sleep? Is it this? Is it money? Okay. All right. Well, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go and get this done because I've had a lot of things taken from me in my life, and I will not allow that to happen again. I will not once again go through the event horizon and come out on the other side with nothing again. That I will not allow. I have everything in place to possibly accomplish a great comeback story and the ultimate American dream. And I swear to you that it still exists. It's still real. And I'm sure everybody can take a deep breath, hopefully after this election's over, and be like, all right, why don't you focus on what you need to do in order to better yourself? Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. And if you live in an environment that's obviously a terrible environment for you or your family, get out of there. Go on and get out of there and go find a job somewhere else or go start a business somewhere else. If that place is not for you and it's too dangerous and it doesn't allow you to think and process things and take down notes and just be in a calm environment, get out of there. If you need to be in a hustle and flow type of environment in order to succeed, fine. There's plenty of places for that. That's not for me, at least not anymore. So I've done that. I know enough to know enough. So maybe one day this podcast will get a little bit longer like it used to. Maybe there'll be more content and more other things added on. But for now, I got to keep it simple, concise, get things up on the internet, and when I am able to take my shots as far as adding things, make sure I can do it in a timely manner. So, that being said, I hope that made sense. To me, it kind of did. I definitely am aggressive with some of my mentality, but I just want to get stuff done. I want to get stuff done, and I don't want to make excuses. So, something about this peach tea, it actually kind of tastes good. Tastes like a peach with no sugar. Anyways, we're going to open up some dig.com Q&A. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments of your own, you can email me directly through my website, or you can hit me up on Instagram, or you can email me. Anyways, we're at 18 minutes. We got time for a couple dig.com's Q's and A's. Article monitor, up we go. One more sip. I'm going to need it. I was deeply hurt yesterday when my son told me outright he trusts his therapist more than he trusts me to understand and help him through the breakup of his marriage. Okay. The circumstances of his divorce and mine are from my first wife are just about identical. So I more than understand what he's going through. When his mom left me, I doubted I would be able to pull myself together. And I see the same kind of thinking in my son. But he thinks just because I remarried, not until he was in college, that I have no idea what kind of pain he is feeling. How old is he, by the way? He and I always used to talk about everything in the past. 6 months ago, he didn't even know this therapist. I don't doubt she's good, and what she does. But I am beginning to believe that she is the one convincing my son she knows better than his own father. Whether that's the case or not, she cannot possibly know him better than me. And if he just let me tell him about the ways I found to cope and move forward, he would not only save time and money, but he would also get practical life advice from someone who lived through how he feels now. Father may not know best, but he knows a lot. Why not take advantage of me? Well, you may know him best, but there's always a certain side of people that you never truly see. And sometimes it's better to just talk to a stranger. Talk to a stranger or a person you haven't talked to in a very long time. Somebody who is going to come from a fresh perspective, and somebody who maybe hasn't experienced the trauma that you have in a certain way. There are things that therapist could possibly accomplish. I have my reservations, but ultimately, they may be coming from a point of view where, first of all, why did the marriage fail? Because it may have been your son's fault, or maybe there was something that happened that your son couldn't cope with, or something he could have done better, and he's trying to figure that stuff out so he can be a better husband or a better person just overall going forward. And maybe talking with you is not going to accomplish that. So I think if you allow him to do this, well, don't allow him, but you're like, hey, it's cool, I get it. You can always talk to me, but if you want to talk to a professional, by all means. All right. I also wonder how old he is. Is he in his early 20s, mid 20s? Is he in his 40s? These are interesting. You take things differently at different ages. So is he trying to win her back? What is this? But ultimately, he is just trying to find himself, and you need to let him do that the way he knows how. He knows where you are, but I just don't think he wants to go home again in order to figure out why his life fell apart. So allow him to see a different perspective. I mean, that's something that's hard to do nowadays with people, or you don't see nowadays with people. It's look at a different perspective, especially somebody who's professionally trained to handle this. And it maybe if he needs a piece of advice from you from how things failed in your first marriage, he'll come to you. But maybe what you think you see is your original marriage and why it didn't work out, he may not see it that way. Let's keep going. Recently, I've become smitten with a much younger man. I'm in my late 40s Recently, I've become smitten with a much younger woman. I'm in my late 40s and she's in her late 20s. Okay. In comes the Jew. I think I might know a few things about this. Let her rip. We met her through a recreational sports league and discovered that we also work for the same company in different departments. We met for coffee as well as lunch several times on days we're both working in the office. We've also socialized with others in our sports league after our respective games. I love how inquisitive, attentive, empathic she is when we spend time in person. When we spend in person, especially one-on-one time together. Part of me absolutely wants to spend more time together outside of work and in sports to see if there's more to this. The challenge with me trying to build our friendship as well as something more potentially more is that she's quite introverted and I'm very extroverted. I like and want constant banter. I like and want constant banter, text, chats, etc. That's overbearing. Gotta back down from someone who I have that connection with. With her, I feel like I'm almost always initiating the digital conversations and sometimes just get frustrated and impatient because she's often slow to respond or doesn't respond without me following up with her on something. She's also doesn't show her personality as much through digital banter as much as when we spend one-on-one time in person, which is not enough. She's very low maintenance. It's also evidence in her presentation and appearance that I also think I've been wired for high maintenance based on what I've experienced in past relationships. I think about her constantly, but I'm conflicted over whether I want to pursue this further despite the age difference. Okay. Well, have you taken the person out on a date, an actual date? Don't worry about okay, so you're in your late 40s and you're dating somebody in their late 20s. All right, cool. I mean, I'll be straight up with you. I'm 40 years old. I was 40 when I met my fiance, and she was 26. All right. That's a 14-year age difference. Not that I have a problem with that. When I met her, Okay, we met in a physical fitness location. She was my personal trainer. She became my personal trainer. Honestly, I wanted to just get faster and more aggressive with my striking, and she was the right person to do it because she had the enthusiasm. I mean, but I did not. The one thing I did not do though was respond to her at all. Like, I did not bother them. I did not bother her. Like, it was a professional situation. She was my coach. We already agreed on times of when we were going to meet to do gym stuff. That was it. And very, very rarely would I text her about. It would be 9:30 tomorrow, gym, and that's it. Wouldn't do anything else. Went in there and I gave 110% effort. I was extremely focused on what we were doing. And then, we a couple questions because I was very quiet and kind of mysterious. I wouldn't ultimately volunteer my life. Questions started to emerge. I responded with actual, legitimate, heartfelt answers about finances and logistics and stuff. And then, another question was asked, and she asked me what I was doing, and I was like, I'm just, I got the day, blah, 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 and probably do this later, and, and I was like, and then I don't remember what happened when I asked. I was like, hey, do you want to go? Because she was always talking about this little taco place in Portsmouth, and I said, hey, and I just said, do you want to go get lunch? And she goes, I'm broke as fuck. And I was like, I got this. It's fine. I was like, don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't give a shit. So let's just go. So I was like, okay. So we walked there, just trainer and trainee, and just went there and sat, and I talked, and she talked, and she's introverted. I'm kind of introverted too. We just regular bullshit speak, the usual shit. And then that was it. I just, basically for the most part. And then that was it. We went back to just being trainers and stuff, and then it progressed in a different way. But ultimately, I didn't after that, I didn't do shit. I just focused on being, her client. All right. But it did elevate after a while. Because once you meet Chase, forget it. You have to be a fucking Satanist if you don't think that Chase is the greatest, four-legged heartbeat in the world. But the idea is let me get back to you. The age difference is not an issue. You can double check with people. Ultimately, if they're over the age of 25, they're fully developed. Their brain is all there. All right. And you're in your late 40s. Okay, fine. Do you look like you're in your late 40s? That's the thing. If you look like you're in your late 40s, you're not healthy, you're not together, you're not all there, and not all don't have your shit together in some way, shape, or form, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Give it up. But if you try to be over extroverted with somebody who's introverted, it's not going to work. You're just pursuing something that's going to run away or going to go back into that hole. Like chasing a gopher and the hole's right nearby. They're never coming out of that hole. Ultimately, what you need to do is back off completely. Back off completely. You ask them for a date and you've already beat the shit out of them with, your texts and your phone calls and all that stuff. They don't want to talk. They don't want to talk. So don't chase them. Don't chase any of that shit. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on being fucking awesome. And you don't just be awesome. You work at being awesome. You work at being strong and stable and being like, hey, whatever. She'll ask, she may even ask, haven't heard from you much lately. Be like, yeah, I get it. You're busy. You're busy. I don't want to bother you. That's it. You do it. You're respecting their space. Like, yeah, you're busy. You don't like talking very much, and it's okay. Whatever. Don't worry about it. It's cool. They'll think about that if they actually did care. Because believe me, if they don't like you, like that, then don't be wasting your time. Don't bother planting roses in a fucking desert. Okay, it's not there. At least for the most part, it's not there. But it can be there if you're giving like a crazy effort where you're not really a late 40s person. You're more like a late 30s person. Yeah, you spend some one-on-one time with them. But there's obviously things that, yeah, you need to throttle down. You need to throttle down, back off. If they respond, you respond with the same amount of enthusiasm, the same amount of words, basically. You give them a 1-for-1 equation. You don't try to overdo it. I mean, when you think there's something there to offer help with, and they ask, why are you helping me? And it's just like, or why are you offering this advice? It's like, well, hey, just trying to be helpful. And, ultimately I want you to have the best opportunity for things. And that's it. You're a good person, and you deserve, the best. That's it. Nothing really more than that. Even though there is something more than that, but ultimately, if it was nothing, it's like, ultimately, if you offer somebody a chance at a better life, and it doesn't turn into anything for you, you've still done a good thing. You've done good. You can do good things for people and get nothing in return other than maybe a thank you. That's enough. That's enough, and it should be enough for you to rest your head knowing that you do good things, and maybe it didn't completely pan out the way you wanted it to, but you still did good shit, and you're still left in high regard. That's the cool part, is you're held in high regard for just doing good things, being a good, strong person, and ultimately not beating people over the head with your texts and your chats and your etc. That's annoying. It gets boring after a while. People just want to kind of decompress. They just want to be like, I'm done for the day. This person just doesn't want to talk. They just want to kind of chill out, and you are getting frustrated and impatient with a person, and you have no right to. You have no right to, because you don't have any claim with them. There's somebody and you kind of chat with them one-on-one basis. But honestly, why are you getting all upset and frustrated and impatient because they're often slow to respond or doesn't respond with me following up with them? That means that they just don't want to talk. They don't want to talk, and maybe they don't want to talk to you at that time or ever. So do yourself a favor. Stop planting roses in the desert. Focus on what you're doing. I went to a certain fitness gym because I wanted to get better. I had a list of goals that I wanted to do within 3 months. So I focused on that and nothing else. So honestly, I was focused on me and not what anybody else was doing. And that allowed me to ascend to a perspective, a level where people's perspective with me was, this fucking kid gets at it. He gets at it. He just goes. There's a lot of drive there, and these are admirable things. But despite my ruthless go-getter attitude, I still have a compassionate side for me because I have the sweetest dog in the world. So there is that. I can give you an image of. There is that image there that is attractive in a sense, but you're just being. It seems like you're being a bit overbearing. So you need to just take a step back. Take a step back. I've done that. I've done that in relationship where I've just backed off completely. Stop saying things. Stop doing things. Just kind of backed off. Be like, I'm not here to be a nuisance or to be a wall or get in the way. I'm just here. Okay? People need me, I'm right here. You don't like this episode, like this podcast. It's here. I'm not forcing it on you. It's here if you want it. If you want to listen to some of these, basic first world white people problems from dig.com, okay, I'll talk about a couple of them and you let me know if any of that stuff resonates with you. But ultimately, you don't have to be here. And they don't have to listen to you, and you don't have to constantly reach out to them to get some type of justification for your efforts. All right? So back off completely, because it's not, if you ask her out on a date right now you're more likely than not gonna get a no. You're more likely than not to get you're gonna get a no for an answer. I like you as a friend. Get the fuck out of here. You haven't earned it. So you just need to get after it and make yourself, the image of yourself and your actual self, borderline undeniable. And then questions will start to arise. If you just completely open book yourself from the get-go, there's nothing to figure out. There's nothing there to accomplish, for them to accomplish. They wanna give a little bit of effort into trying to figure out what you're like. But if you just volunteer that right off the bat, there's no sport in it, for lack of a better term. So, anyways, you can find me on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. Email me directly through my website, or just actually directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. Questions, concerns, comments, anything like that, posing music for fitness competitors. Check out all my other article links and things like that. If you want to check out the video version of this podcast, it's available on YouTube, Positive Sarcasm, and Rumble, Positive Sarcasm. But of course, it's available audio version anywhere where podcasts are downloadable. Also, you can download it and stream it directly from my website, positivesarcasm.com. In the meantime, there we go, 35 minutes. Hey, sometimes you got it. Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. I'll get y'all back next week. Recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio from New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast. For entertainment purposes only, this has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.